A lost child who was kidnapped at the age of just 1 year old has finally come home after 20 long years. But the reunion was far from what the family expected. When the child went missing all those years ago, the police had no leads and the family had no answers. When they opened it, they couldn't believe their eyes. Standing in front of them was a man who looked as if he had aged rapidly. He told them that he was their son who they had lost all those years ago. They clung to hope that one day they would be reunited, but never gave up hope. He also didn't know where any of the towns near their home were. It almost felt like he had never lived there at all. But surely this wasn't the case. Their son would only be 21 years old if he were alive, yet this man looked closer to 50. What had happened to him? He had been forced to work as a slave, and if he wasn't careful, he could be severely punished. Now that Ethan was back home, the family were determined to make him feel loved and welcome. With the help of a therapist, Ethan slowly began to open up and share his memories with his family. He managed to escape after 18 years, but the trauma of his ordeal had left him with no memory of his past. They showed them to him, and this was the first time that a glimmer of recognition crossed his face. It was clear that he had once been a happy and loved child. The family took him in and welcomed him with open arms. They were just so happy to have him back. The family were overjoyed that Ethan had finally come home, even if it wasn't quite the reunion that they had imagined. They were just grateful to have him back. As time went on, Ethan began to piece together fragments of his past. He remembered being taken from his family and sold to a man who had no emotion. Fast forward to present day and a full-grown man knocked on their door, claiming to be their son. It was a cold winter's day when the family got the surprise of their lives. There was a knock at the door. But how could this be possible? But they soon realized that something was very wrong. The man told them that he had no memory of his past. He couldn't remember anything about his childhood or why he'd been taken. All he knew was that he was called Ethan. It seemed like the kidnapping had not only taken away their son, but also his memories. But as he settled back into family life, they began to notice some strange things about him. As the days went by, more and more details came to light. He didn't recognize any of the family photos. Then one day, while looking through some old photo albums, they found pictures of Ethan as a baby. But what had happened to him? Why did he have no memories of his childhood? He remembered living in a dark and dank cellar with no windows. He had searched for his family for years, but it wasn't until recently that he had found them. They understood that he had been through a traumatic experience and needed time to heal. It was a long and painful process, but eventually he was able to forgive his kidnapper and move on with his life.